How's it going, Jack Tackers, and welcome back to another video for you guys. Today I'm going to be doing my review for The Walking Dead Dead City Season 1 Episode 6, which was titled The Doma Smo. And of course this is the Season 1 finale. Hopefully we get a Season 2 because overall I enjoyed this finale and I thought it was a good way to kind of close out this season, and it definitely leaves the door open for a pretty exciting Season 2 because kind of left off on a bit of a cliffhanger, I mean, for the most part, but we do kind of have the main story that was set up from the beginning of this season wrapped up because Maggie's finally able to get Herschel back and trade Negan for Herschel, and that, of course, has built up this, whole season pretty much. And I will say it's pretty interesting, though, because of the direction they ultimately take with the final moments of this episode. We can see that Maggie's starting to have a bit of a different perspective on Negan, and you can tell she's a little conflicted about the situation, just a little bit. I mean, I still believe, as it's addressed in this episode, that she'll probably never forgive Negan for what he's done, but you can see that there is something going on with her where I wouldn't say she feels bad for what she's doing, because obviously she wants to have Herschel back, but it's a complex situation now, and I really like what they've done with that and how they've kind of built up their relationship in this season, and I thought that was really good. And basically, something even more interesting, Croat takes Negan to the Dama, and she basically wants Negan to, return to his roots and become a powerful leader yet again to help, I guess, unite New York. There's apparently other settlements in the area, like in Harlem, I believe she says. And it's funny because the Croat's just kind of like such a Negan super fan, and he's very good in this episode. It's interesting because you think the Croat's kind of like the main villain of the season, and for all intents and purposes he is, but it seems like the Dama is kind of the real villain, and she's like a step above Croat. And she's willing to kind of have Negan, I guess, be the new leader of New York, but I think she'll still be kind of pulling the strings. And from what we've seen of the Dama, she was introduced last episode, and again, apologies for no review last week for episode 5, because I want to talk about her character because she was introduced last week. The actress who plays her, I believe, was Darlene Snell in Ozark, so she's very menacing and is one of my favorite characters in the show, honestly, at this point, because I think she's just very captivating whenever she's on screen. I mean, she's just, very menacing. And I think she'll always kind of be the one pulling the strings, even if Negan kind of comes aboard and becomes this new leader of New York. I don't know. She's scary. Definitely one of the scarier villains. And we haven't even seen her do that much. Again, only 2 episodes, but I think a lot of that just comes down to the fact that she's very scary in Ozark, so that's why I'm kind of, I guess, projecting that image onto her in this show. But I definitely can tell she's, knows what's up and will probably be, again, pulling strings from up top. And I think those types of villains are very interesting. Kind of, I don't want to compare it to Emperor Palpatine or something from Star Wars, but we think Darth Vader is as high as it can get, but then there's, obviously the Emperor, so he's really at the top of the food chain, so to speak. So I don't know if that's a stupid analogy, but just really like what they're doing with her so far, and I need to see more of her. And I think kind of having the old Negan return is something that has been implemented in this season, all throughout, of course, where he kills that one guy and makes it rain blood on all those people in episode 2, I think. And we see glimpses of old Negan kind of returning and him returning to his villainous ways. And I would like to see more of that, I guess, but I don't know. Does it kind of screw up his redemption a little bit? Or is Negan just irredeemable? I don't know. I mean, they've already veered pretty far away from the comic storyline and how his character ends, obviously because there's no spin-off, that continues Negan's story in the comics. So it's a bit of an interesting direction they're taking his character, and I do wonder. It would be cool to see old Negan return, be this kind of powerful leader again, and be like the godfather of New York. I think that'd be exciting to see, but I don't know. It does leave me wondering if it kind of screws with his redemption, depending on how far they want to go, to make Negan super villainous again. I don't know. Let me hear your thoughts on that in the comments. I'm curious to see what you guys have to say. But anyway, let's talk about Pearlie Armstrong for a second. He brings back Ginny to the new Hilltop community. It is the Hilltop community now, right? Because obviously the old Hilltop's gone. I think it's Hilltop. And Negan actually reveals to Ginny earlier in this episode that he killed her dad. So now Negan and Ginny are kind of like, I guess butting heads a little bit to a degree. But Armstrong, he really came in clutch this episode, and I'm really loving his character. He's probably the most underrated character in the whole show right now. And I feel like when everyone talks about this show, they're not really mentioning Armstrong. I guess he's more of a side character, but I really do like what they've done with him. And him and Negan kind of got really close in episode 5 and kind of have a bit of a more understanding of each other. So I really like their dynamic. And obviously, yeah, he agrees to kind of bring Ginny back and make sure she gets to Hilltop safe. So that was pretty cool. And Armstrong actually ends up going back to New Babylon. And the leader there, this woman, I assume is the leader, she seems to not really buy his story about him killing Negan. Obviously, he didn't kill Negan, and Armstrong's just kind of lying through his teeth. And the woman can kind of, tell there's something sus going on. She can sense that he's lying. Something about the methane. And, yeah, so they kind of are aware that Armstrong is lying about killing Negan. And that was an intense scene. I was wondering, like, what's going to happen to Armstrong? You know what I mean? It's like, damn, I wonder what's going to happen with his whole storyline next season. Maybe they're going to send him back to New York. I imagine so that all these characters will end up going back to New York City just because the show's dead city. So, I imagine Maggie is probably going to make it back to New York in season 2 because her and Herschel, they make it back to Hilltop, and Maggie sees like these, I guess, drawings of the Dama and stuff like that. So Herschel's been tortured actually as well. He's missing a toe now. That I don't know if the Dama did it. Maybe Croat did it, but now the Dama has his pinky toe in that box, which is just nasty and also kind of menacing. And that's why I'm just really liking the Dama as a character so far. But I wonder how these characters are all going to kind of come back to New York in season 2, because it's like pretty much confirmed. I don't know if is it confirmed or is it just like highly expected that we're going to be getting a season 2. I imagine we will get a season 2 because the door is left open. And I love that they did that kind of split screen with Negan and Maggie's face and to kind of show I guess the connection that they have now. It's kind of symbolic and what have you. So that's kind of cool. That was very cool imagery, and I really liked that moment in this episode. And yeah, I imagine Maggie will probably have to make it back to New York. I imagine Armstrong will probably have to make it back to New York because otherwise, are we really going to have a plot for season 2? That makes sense because it's dead city. Has to take place in the city. But overall thoughts on this first season, I enjoyed it, and I think this is a good conclusion to it. But like I said, I really do need season 2, as I'm sure many of you want season 2 as well, because this was a good show, and I wouldn't say it like completely revitalized the Walking Dead universe, but like you compare this to like the first half of Fear the Walking Dead season 8, yeah, it's just a night and day difference. Fear the Walking Dead this season, there's maybe like 2 good episodes, 2 decent episodes, but I don't know. But now I'm just rambling. Post your thoughts and comments on The Walking Dead, Dead City down below. What did you guys think of this finale, and what did you guys think of this season as a whole? Are you wanting a season 2? I imagine you want a season 2, because it was just, I don't know, I really enjoyed it. But yeah, post your thoughts and comments down below. If you guys liked this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.